Now that we're coming to the end of chapter 5, I think it's best to predict some seasons that Fortnite could make. I did this the first time, you guys really enjoyed it, you've been asking for part 2, so here it is. And it really is honestly easier than I thought because there's still so many themes that Fortnite has not done that they really need to get to. And I think in chapter 5 so far, they've done a pretty good job of doing very unique season themes that they haven't really tried before. So I hope in chapter 6 they can go even deeper on this and really get to doing every single theme that people have been asking for. And at this point, I might make a part 3 because there's so many other themes I want to get to that I won't be able to get to in this video. But without further ado, let's get through some of Fortnite's potential seasons, part 2. Now first up, I have a samurai or Japanese type of season. I'm really awakening all the weebs with this one. All jokes aside, this is a season I'm very surprised Fortnite hasn't gone all in with. They somewhat did this in Mega, and I'm a huge fan of the cyberpunk themes, one of my favorite themes of all time, but I really want to see them go all in with the ancient Japanese stuff too. So I think it'd be a really cool idea if they had some type of concept with the samurai and Fox clan going at war. I don't really have much for the battle pass here because if it's not a collab type of season, I have a hard time coming up with certain stuff. But of course, we need some samurai skins. I'm going for more of a darker vibe with them. And then of course, the Fox clan skins, who are going to have more of a lighter vibe to them. I really want to see this kind of concept in a battle pass. I love the darker themed skins, some of my favorites in the game. And I'd be really hyped to see a battle pass like this overall, with the secret skin being Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. Now for the map, I really want the layout to be a lot like what they did in Season 2. Having a castle on each side of the map. On one side, it will be the darker type of castle, and this will be for the samurai. And on the other side of the map, they'll have a brighter type of castle for the Fox clan. And I really want these castles to be huge so you can walk around inside of them. I want more POIs that are more interior based. That's why I love the agency so much, because it really made close encounter fighting super fun. And I really think the game would benefit from having more POIs like this. Now, in the middle, somewhat like how agency was, I want there to be some type of temple POI. Not too big, but not too small, basically the size of agency. Obviously, I think it'd be really cool to have something like this in the middle, and I think it'd balance out having the two palaces on each side. Other than that, for some smaller locations, we could have some villages, some camps, and these could be a lot more detailed than the ones we got in Mega, because obviously the main focus of that season was to have Mega City. Now, because I want this season to be more close encounter based for the loophole, I think when it comes to shotguns, we really need the Havoc Pump, the Tac, and the Combat. These are by far the best weapons for close encounter fighting, and I think they work really well against overpowered items on top of that. And because there's going to be a lot of overpowered items here, I think we need the MK, the Hammer, and also the Havoc Assault Rifle. Now, of course, we need a Katana for the Samurai themed season, so I think it'd be best to mix the Kinetic Blade with the TMNT weapons. It'd be as fast and do the same amount of damage as the Leonardo Katanas, while also letting you double jump like they would, but it would have the same dash effect that the Kinetic Blade had, while also using the same animation, just not as slow. Other than that, we could have some kunai, some blow darts to really go with that samurai Japanese type of vibe. And of course, we need some type of bows because samurais used to use those all the time, and to go with the bows, we really need horses this season. That's really all I have for the samurai concept. This is definitely my favorite one I probably made other than the cyberpunk and medieval one, so I'm really hyped to see what you guys think about it, and hopefully this gets implemented in the game somehow. For a wizard type season, again, I'm not really sure what they could do with the battle pass. Obviously, they need wizards, but there's no way I can really differentiate which kind of wizards there's gonna be without me drawing it up, and I am not really that good at drawing, so I'm just gonna move on to the map. Now, for starters, not to copy Harry Potter or anything, but that's really the only wizard thing I know. I want some huge castle-like POI. I want it to look a lot like Hogwarts, but obviously not the same. Again, we need more castle-like POIs or palaces, just because they're super fun for close encounter fighting, and I think if we get an even bigger POI than what the agency was, it's gonna be insane. On top of that, we need some type of forest POI like Weeping Woods to kind of make it feel a little more magical, and there are gonna be some mystical creatures around there to really keep it alive. Then around the edge of the map, we could have some floating POIs, somewhat like how the late game spawn island is, except this time they'll obviously be there from the start of the game to the end, and they will be in the edge of the map instead of spawning around circles. Now, these will obviously have zip lines to get up to them, and on top of that, they'll have those jump boost things they had in Primal to get to island. And of course, there could be some sort of launch pad here too. Now, lastly, to talk about the loophole, we need some type of elemental weapons to be implemented here. These can be done one of 3 ways. First of all, they could just be the base weapons, but I do not think they should be the base weapons at all. 2, they could be exotics you can find in those boxes when you get the keys back in chapter 4, or you could buy them from NPCs. But I think the best option is to make these mods. You can have a fire mod where if you put it on your AR, it shoots out fiery bullets, or you can get some icy mod for your shotgun where it shoots out ice, or a sniper that strikes a player with lightning on impact. Outside of that, we could also get wands, but instead of these being elemental abilities, they could be more unique. Like being able to knock a player back, destroy some players' builds, or shoot a beam at them. I think stuff like this would be super sick. They could have at least 5 to 6 wands to go around the loot pool. Somewhat like how the avatar abilities were. I just think it'd be really cool to see something like that. Lastly, for mobility, they could bring back the broom, but instead of it just being a glider reskin this time, they could actually let you fly around, somewhat like how the wings of Icarus were, but this time on a broom. That's really all I have for the wizard and magic stuff. I hope you guys like this concept, and let's move on to the next one. Now next up, I have a Wild West type season. Many of you guys in the last video asked for some type of season like this, so I thought I'd put it in this video. And out of all these, I'm super surprised Fortnite has not executed this type of season so far, but there's definitely been some seasons that have had some Wild West type themes, just not really overall. Now obviously for the battle pass, we need some cowboys. There could be a customizable one that lets you pick the colors, stuff like that. We need some sheriffs, maybe some guy dressed up as a horse, and of course for the secret skin, we need Arthur Morgan. Now for starters, they could add a desert biome. This would really go with the theme, of course, and you can't really have a Wild West themed season without a desert. There can be some mountains, some cactuses, and of course some horses roaming around you can tame if you get a saddle. For starters, we need some really big towns to go with the theme. These could be some of the main POIs. One of them could easily be Blackwater from Red Dead 2. I really like the layout of this entire map, and I think it'd be super cool on the Fortnite island. And we could sneak in a little Arthur Morgan boss to go with it. Then outside of these two big towns, you could have some stables for the horses, and even a big bank. Other than that, there could be some smaller locations like sheriff departments, saloons, and barns. Now for the loot pool, as much as people don't like them, we need the infantry rifle back, we need the lever action rifle, and of course the lever action shotgun. Except this time we could buff them up a little bit so people don't hate them as much. We're gonna obviously need things like the 6-shooter back, the revolver, and of course dynamite. And I'm thinking to go with that dynamite, there's some type of explosive barrels you can throw out the back of a horse's carriage to blow up other players. Now to have some other weapons that aren't just Wild West weapons, you could have the pump, you could have the combat, and of course the double barrel shotgun, because these are able to stand the Wild West theme while still having a pretty solid loot pool overall. And other than just the infantry rifle, we could probably sneak in the heavy and burst AR, because I feel like these go with the Wild West theme just a little bit. Lastly, for the Arthur Morgan boss, he could have some lock-on 6-shooter or some type of 6-shooter that shoots multiple players at once. This will pay homage to his L3 R3 attack, and it'll just be a cool weapon overall. But that's really all I have for this concept. I know you guys have really wanted to see this type of season because last time you guys begged for me to put it in the part 2. So let me know what you guys think of it, and tell me what you guys would change. Alright, for the final concept we have of today, I have a wait, hold on.
My pitch for a future Fortnite season centers around horror, as Halloween is my favorite time of year, and Epic Games could really capitalize on a horror-based season from August to November. To kick off the Battle Pass, at Tier 1, we would start with Dracula, a classic character that goes hand in hand with Halloween. Next up, we'd have our first collab with the Battle Pass with Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, offering multiple looks, including his classic appearance and a futuristic look from Jason X. Following that, we'd have this killer clown skin that was recently included on a Fortnite survey. Next up, we have Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, adding great value to the Battle Pass, building on the lineup of slasher characters. Followed by a remix of the beloved Cuddle Team Leader skin that offers a spooky twist on the fan favorite character. And finally, we'd have Ghostface, who would stand as the main character at Tier 100. And of course, we have to have a secret skin that'll drop halfway through the season, and we have no other than Leatherface. And although Leatherface might not be as popular with modern audiences, his place in horror culture is undeniable, and it would be a shame if we had to leave him out of a horror-themed season. Now moving on to map additions, to complement the horror theme, we need a Halloween-inspired biome, featuring some haunted forests, graveyards, and spooky houses. And as far as POIs go, first up we'd have Camp Crystal Lake, which would be a misty, dark area featuring abandoned cabins and eerie forests, and of course you'd be able to encounter Jason Voorhees at this campground. Next up we'd have Elm Street, which would be a suburban neighborhood from A Nightmare on Elm Street, with Freddy Krueger's boiler room and creepy alleyways. And finally, we have the Sawyer family farmhouse, a desolate Texas farmhouse where Leatherface himself and his family reside. And of course, this POI would stay true to Leatherface and be filled with some gruesome traps. And of course, with any new season, you have to have weapons and items that are unique to the season. First up, we have Jason's machete that you could obtain at Camp Crystal Lake by defeating Jason Voorhees himself. Then we'd have the chainsaw mythic that you could find at the family farmhouse after facing off against Leatherface. Also with the season, we'd see the return of the witch broom with some new features, including the ability to attack opponents mid-flight. However, hitting an opponent would weaken the broom, adding a risk-reward dynamic to the item. And finally, we'd have Freddy's mythic, and this powerful item would allow for attacks, as well as mind games against your players, with features like cloaking, teleporting, and increased strength.
That's all I have for today's video, guys. Thanks to Twisty Chase for coming. Who would have thought it wasn't actually me just clearing up my throat? So make sure you guys go drop him a sub. I'll leave his stuff down in the description below. But yeah, I had a fun time making these concepts. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of these. And let me know some seasons that you guys want to see, and maybe I'll put them in part 3. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I have. We'll see you guys later.